I think when you look at Brock Purdy, like you said with the Shanahan system, and everyone says that, there are other guys that I think if you plug in this system can give you near just as good results as Brock Purdy. Same with Dak. With Hurts and Lamar, the list is shorter. And obviously with Dak, the list is shorter. What I'm getting at is when I look at Christian McCaffrey, A.J. Brown, and Tyreek Hill, those three guys in particular, I don't think you can put anyone in their spots. Maybe, I don't know, A.J. Brown's had a couple of down games. Maybe he's in there, but you can't put anyone else in Tyreek Hill's spot and get the same results from that Miami offense. I don't think you could do it with McCaffrey either. Why not one of those guys to win MVP? I think Tyreek Hill should be. If I was picking the MVP today.
Who did I circle?
Yeah.
Tyreek Hill.
Why not one of those guys? Why does it have to be a quarterback award when I don't think these quarterbacks are the most valuable player on their team this year?
So you said it perfectly, because who can I insert into Tyreek Hill's situation that can replicate or even come close to what Tyreek has done?
There might not be a single player ever that you could put in there. That's a legitimate argument. That who?
What he's capable of,
exactly.
His skill set is unlike really anything that we've ever seen. If you see the guys in the past that are speed receivers, like a Deshaun Jackson, there were still flaws to their game.
Yeah.
Tyreek Hill, you look at Tyreek, what's the flaw? He's a great route runner. He's a great contested catch player.
5'10" and goes up like he's 6'3".
Exactly. Like, he's got strong hands. He limits his drops. And then obviously, bro, you send him on a go route. Who the hell is who was keeping up with him? And then not only that, he opens up so much more for your offense just because of the threat of the speed that you always have to send safety help. And if you don't, you end up like Washington, where it's 5 catches, 150 plus, and 2 touchdowns. So we knew that secondary was burnt toast. We knew that was fucking finished. But he likely, health permitting, is going to pass 2,000 yards, which is ridiculous. Never happened before from a receiver. And that is just, in and of itself, in my opinion, more than enough. You get Mike McDaniel there, he gets Tyreek, and then it was a match made in heaven. And Tua's been phenomenal. I take nothing away. But Tyreek has just been so different that if you took Tyreek and put in literally any other receiver, it wouldn't work to this extent. So
I
want to say
16 yards per catch. I was just looking at that.
Yeah, and his average depth of target is not average depth of target. I'm sorry, but his yards per route run is like 4.4, and the next highest is like 3.01 in Brandon Ayuk. Yeah, so the difference in that is an average wide receiver in the NFL, 1.3. That's how ridiculous it is. So yeah, the shit that he's doing is unlike anything I've seen. And it's tough because I would be between him and Dak if the season ended today. That's my personal opinion.
So you guys know how I feel about Tyreek Hill. That's one of my favorite players of all time. He's the best receiver I've watched with my own 2 eyes. He's that good, and he's having that good of a season right now. But the MVP is a quarterback award for a reason. Quarterback is the hardest position to play, arguably in all of sports. And just, yes, you could say there's more guys that could come into Dak Prescott's situation and do what Dak's doing than Tyreek Hill's situation. But what goes into doing that situation at a high level is so much more complex at the quarterback position than it is the receiver position. And it's just, that's just how it is. Like that,
Quarterback's a harder position to play.
And also, it's just by extent, someone has to get the guy the ball. It's the unfortunate truth of the matter.
Right,
they don't have the ball every play.
Right, the quarterback has the ball every single play. I mean, you look at a guy like Dak Prescott. Like, I don't know how many guys are going in and doing what Dak's doing this year.
Not many, to be fair. Yeah, not many.
Dak had a down year last year. Led the league in interceptions. Was getting clowned all offseason. They fire Kellen Moore. Everyone says this Cowboys offense is going to take a back seat. Mike McCarthy is going to be fired by week 7.
I think so.
This Cowboys offense.
It was rough to start.
It was. This Cowboys offense isn't going to be the same. And then, since they got blown out to the 49ers, since week 7, Dak Prescott is just on another level right now. And in terms of the quarterbacks in the league since week 7, he's first in EPA per play by a wide margin at a .392. The next closest is Trevor Lawrence at a .276. Like, he has 2 interceptions over that span, multiple games with 300 yards, multiple games with 3+ touchdowns. He's just been playing the quarterback at a level that no one else in the league is playing it at. And it's not a situation like Brock Purdy, and it's not a situation like Jalen Hurts, where he's doing it with all of this help on offense. The Cowboys' offense is good, but Dak Prescott is elevating them right now.
Yeah.
Because it was those same players weeks 1 through 6 on that offense. What's the changing factor between weeks 1 and 6 and week 7 on? The play of Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott is elevating this team, therefore making him the MVP.
I agree, but I do think that also there was a change in philosophy after that. CeeDee Lamb, after that week, became arguably the best receiver in the entire NFL because Dallas decided, okay, we're going to start getting this guy the ball more because we have a generational talent at receiver right now. So, and then obviously that opened up things for Brandon Cooks from that point forward. Jake Ferguson's been good. Not saying that those guys are great at this point. Dak has most definitely elevated them. But I'm just saying there was a very large stylistic change to where they were like, okay, we're getting CD the ball more, like for sure. But someone has to get
him the ball, right?
Someone has to get them the ball. And Dak's been doing it just about as good as anyone. And
I don't know. I think it's not good that the setup is the way it is, where the award is called the MVP and then the award is called the Offensive Player of the Year. It'd be better if the award was called Best Quarterback, Best Skill Position Player, Defensive Player of the Year. Those are the 3 main awards because it makes more sense, and that's how the awards go normally. But like I said, the MVP is just a quarterback award. So I don't know.
Because they are inherently more valuable. Yeah. They elevate talent around them more so than any other position, just because it's how it has to be.
And it's just like we were saying, how so much goes into playing the quarterback position and how it's different than every other position. It's just like, how do I measure a quarterback's value compared to a wide receiver's value, where a wide receiver like Tyreek Hill, what did he have in this past game? 5 catches?
Yeah.
So a wide receiver who touches the ball 5 times compared to a quarterback who's throwing the ball 40 times. Like, how am I measuring who's more valuable?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just a hard thing to do. So if there was a fix for it, it would be to rename the awards, which they're not going to do. But I think it just makes sense to have it, like, separated. Like, here's a quarterback award. Here's a skill position award. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Never in NFL history has a wide receiver won the award. We've had running backs.
Yeah.
We've never had the wide receiver.
2012 was the last
and Sean Alexander prior to that. Yeah. So it's tough, but yeah, it is.
Like Dak since week 7, he's averaging like just doing quick math in my head, not actually doing the math, but he's averaging about 300 yards per game, and about probably the number would be like 3.1 or 2.8 touchdowns per game, and he only has 2 interceptions in that span.
Yeah.
Like, he's clearly, to me, Dak Prescott is clearly playing the quarterback position at the best level this season.
He's also sat out like 3 fourth quarters in that span.
Yeah. To me, the only real competition in terms of who's playing the quarterback the best is it's a race between Dak. It's a race between Lamar. It's a race between Mahomes. You got to have Mahomes in there just because of who he is. And CJ Stroud.
Yeah.
And that's about it.
Yeah. I'd even argue
you got to
get thrown in there.
Throw Tua in there. Throw Jalen Hurts and Brock Purdy. I think Brock Purdy, Jalen Hurts, and Tua are probably in the same exact tier of MVP argument right now. And they have the same arguments. They've won some games. They're on some good teams. They have some pretty good stats, but they also have a shit ton of help. It's kind of the argument for all 3 of them.
Yeah.
So, kind of in the same tier. The other guys, look at a guy like Dak. I really believe Dak is really elevating those around him this year. You look at CJ Stroud. We know CJ Stroud's elevating those around him.
Yeah.
Mahomes, even though, the wins and losses and the counting sets aren't aren't the best. Mahomes is elevating everyone around him because his fucking receiver core is god awful.
So bad.
Lamar Jackson doing the same stuff. You know what I mean? So I think those are the 4 guys in the conversation right now. Like I said, Brock, Tua, and Hurts are definitely in the conversation just because of the team success. But it's an interesting conversation. I think it's fine to say Tyreek Hill is having a generational type season, and he's the best skill position player. Here's the Offensive Player of the Year award.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Dak
I don't think
Prescott.
it's crazy to call him the most valuable player in football, though. I know it's a quarterback award, but I
get it.
really
I do
don't
agree.
think it's that crazy.
I get it. It's just like to me, it's just. So we're talking about value, right? So can we, as a collective, the 3 of us, link, in some regard, value to who you would take to start your team? In some regard, those 2 would be linked.
Yeah, no
Sure,
shot you're
yeah.
taking Tyreek over.
Right.
Probably
I'm
10
not
to-
saying that's the be all end all, that question there, but that's a part of it, right?
Probably 10 quarterback.
If we're measuring value, then we have to measure who we would take if we were starting a
Right.
team from scratch. So
If you had
like-
1 year, would he be the first non-quarterback that you would take?
no, probably
You would
take some
take a
defensive
defensive, yeah.
players.
Probably take a
Defensive
probably take an
edge rusher?
or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. Okay. I was just wondering.
Probably
Skill
Miles,
position-wise, though?
Miles, Micah, and TJ, and then Tyreek Hill.
Skill position wise, no question. I take him first. Yeah.
Him or McCaff. I feel like that's the only thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would
Yeah, I
take
know Tyreek.
But
I get it. Like, he's having arguably the best receiver season of all time. Like, there's a case for him to be the MVP. And I wouldn't get on here and start bashing the NFL if he won the MVP.
Right.
I have a hard time, like I said, measuring
value.
value in terms of quarterback versus skill position
Yeah, the
player.
name of the award really does. We talk about it in basketball too, how like most valuable player doesn't always
I feel like
capture.
they've been getting it right
Yeah.
semi recently. For the most part.